Thank you, Celine. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you to everyone on stage, my team. And of course, most importantly, thank you to Bishan Topayo. First and foremost, before I carry on with my speech, can I please request for everyone to give a huge round of applause to the police officers tonight on duty for keeping us safe. And ladies and gentlemen, may I also request that you do not give them any trouble at all. Now, my dear friends, tonight is an important night for all of us. Tonight is the final night that we can talk. It's the final night for our rally. Come this Friday, you will go to the polls. We will go to the polls. And we will make that vote, that important vote which will change the course of history in Singapore. At 11 p.m. tonight onwards, none of us will be able to speak anymore because it is cooling off. And during this cooling off day, none of us can speak. And we leave it to you to help us to continue with our voice, to speak to your neighbors, to speak to your friends living in Bishan Topayo, in Hong Kong North, in Mountbatten, in Potong Pasir, to share the words that we have shared with you over this entire campaign of what we stand for, of what we believe in. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, our journey, our life in Singapore has not been easy. Personally, for me, my family wasn't well-to-do, but we always made it through. Like most Singaporeans out here, most of you here, I attended neighborhood schools, and I went to a polytechnic. And my family struggled with the high cost of living, just like every single one of you here. And like most Singaporeans who are still in school in polytechnics, I took up part-time jobs because I needed to be able to supplement the family income. Studying in a polytechnic is expensive, not just because of the school fees, but also because of the materials that we need to spend for our school projects. And I had to work because my family wasn't that well-to-do. But amidst the challenges that my family faced, my parents often reminded me of two important things which helps to keep me grounded. They told me to always think of the less fortunate, those who do not have a roof above their heads, and those who struggle with basic necessities. Basically, those who struggle in the first tier of Maslow hierarchy of needs, your physiological needs. Now, as a volunteer with Mendaki for close to 7 years, I had the opportunity to work with youths who were at risk. These youths were at risk of dropping out of school. Most came from disadvantaged families with low income or broken families. Now, as a grassroots leader with Cane Hill CC Youth Executive Committee, I was exposed to a different side of Singapore, the elderly. Most of the elderly lived on their own. Now, besides my volunteer work and my personal work, which includes educating young Singaporeans through the arts and culture, as well as sports, I have also represented Singapore internationally as a youth ambassador in the SHIP for Southeast Asian Youth Program, and most recently in 2013, where I spent 4 months at the University of California, Irvine, to mentor students from the university who belong to a group called the Students for Global Peace Building, where I helped them to develop peace programs for the campus and for Southern California. And for that, I am thankful for the opportunities that have come my way. But I also recognize that our youth in Singapore have different aspirations and basic needs that needs to be met. Our youths and all of us, we think about whether or not we have enough money to pay for our housing, Some of us, we think about whether or not we have money to put food on the table. These are basic needs. For those of us who are a little bit elderly, we think about whether or not our children will be able to afford their own house in the near future. I know my dad does. He was thinking about it 15 years ago. He still does today. Now, while our grandparents may have been able to afford to purchase a 4-room HDB flat in the 70s, which cost about $15,000, in 2012, the amount for a 4-room flat cost $300,000. Now, this is approximately 19 times more expensive than it was. And the Polytechnic's graduate pay in 2012 was about $1,800. This is approximately 4.5 times more than it was in the 70s, which stood at $400. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that the numbers itself are huge. A big difference. And I think all of us have heard a PAP candidate saying that homes are affordable. Do you think homes are affordable, Singaporeans?
No! Pay until you tua.
Correct. Pay until you tua. Some of you, you pay until you die. Or some of us, you don't even get to pay finish and then you die. Now, I was told that people used to be able to pay off their home debt in 10 years. But today, you can only clear your home debt 20, 25, 30 years. And that's a very long time. That's approximately half your life that you live just to pay off for your home. And you don't even own your home. It is a lease for 99 years. Now, one of the residents living here in Bishan Toa Payoh sent me a message. And let me read it for you. I think Bishan Toa Payoh residents are concerned with our sustainability of our livelihoods here, considering we are more than a mature estate with many old residents. You know, I used to grow up here with a lot of block parties, and the youth would perform for their parents or the elderly. It can happen 2 to 3 times yearly, but I don't see that anymore. We are lacking connection in a community, and some of us are taken aback at the rise of foreigners living at Bishan Estate as compared to locals who are dying to own a house here. Some residents feel that their opinions do not matter, or they do not feel that they could raise anything. This is reference to the construction of buildings that we are unaware of, not informed. Our opinions didn't matter, such as condominiums taking over the field across the mosque, just behind you, an upcoming mini old folks home taking over the football field across Kuo Chuan School, which angered many youths. Now, the GRC did a survey for that matter, but in the end, they went ahead with construction before the survey was even tallied and released. And some of the lifts here are built completely, but my own flat is still in aluminum foil for 6 years. I wrote into a GRC a few years back and still not complete. Do you agree with what this resident is saying? Yes. So let me tell you what we are going to do. Now, as your MP, we plan to build a community performing arts group here in Bishan Toa Payoh. Its purpose will be to provide opportunities beyond school for school-going children to have regular opportunities to perform. It also serves as a platform where residents of all backgrounds and ages can come together to work on community projects and have it performed to their own community 2 to 3 times a year. Now, this will not only foster closer relations between members of the community, but also help to build our arts and culture community as well. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the arts and culture community is the soul of any community. Let this be the soul of your community one that everyone can be proud of. Now, as your MP, we will listen to your concerns and raise your concerns in Parliament. We know many of you have concerns about the future. And we share your concerns about the high cost of living, about CPF, about housing, about healthcare, and most importantly, about being able to retire in peace. And peace of mind, my dear friends, is something that all of us here in Bishan Toa Payoh strive to do for you. Because we not only run businesses, we are social entrepreneurs. And as part of our jobs, we seek to solve problems for your peace of mind. We seek to solve problems through innovation to help the community. Now, my other team members, Ben and Brian, will share with you our plans for Bishan Toa Payoh. Plans on how to improve livelihood for your peace of mind. Now, for the first-time voters, I know how you feel. I voted for the first time in 2006. And as a first-time voter, I had several questions on my mind. It is probably the same thing that seasoned voters like yourself will think about. Number one, why should you vote for us? Number two, what can we do for you? And number three, what positive change do you want to see for Singapore? My dear friends, I am afraid. I am afraid that if PAP still rules the majority in Parliament, they will approve policies that will not benefit us, just like the 6.9 million proposed population. I am afraid that if PAP still rules the majority in Parliament, we will no longer have an alternative voice in Parliament to speak for us, to fight for us, because they will be bounded by the party whip. I am afraid that if PAP still rules the majority in Parliament, we will lose the soul of what it means to be Singaporeans. Are you afraid? That is something that you need to ask yourself. But if there's one thing that you should not be afraid of, don't be afraid to vote for an alternative voice in Parliament. Don't be afraid to vote for a team that understands what it feels like to be Singaporean. Don't be afraid to vote for the SPP. Don't be afraid to vote for the SPP. Don't be afraid to vote for the SPP. Because together we can make Singapore a better place again. Thank you.